So I had a dream about Pokemon, and I was thinking like Pokeballs are round, and a lot of Pokemon are also round. So if you draw it like there's a Jigglypuff, and it's round, but not really. Think about it. It has two ears, it has two arms, it has two legs, so it's not round. But if you look at it from above, it is round. But if it's a Pokemon and it's round when you see it from above, is it a Pokeball? It's not, because it's pink, and also it's it doesn't have a center button, and it's not two colored, so it's not a Pokeball. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Also, like, yeah, it's more like it looks like Kirby with ears. Think about it. So no, Jigglypuff is not a Pokeball. But then, like, you think about Pokemon, right? So obviously, you think about Voltorb and Electorb, which is um one is red and white, and the other one is white and red, and they're also round. And in the games, you can accidentally pick up items which look like Pokeballs on the ground, but when you touch them, tada! It's not a Pokeball. It's not an item. It's a Pokemon. It's Voltorb and Electorb. So they're round and then they're red and white. So are they a Pokeball? Well, no, they're not a Pokeball. If you look at them from above, one of them is fully round, the other one's also fully white. But they're only red and only white. And if you look at them from the front, they're not round because look, they have eyes, they have mouths, and they don't have that center button. So they're not a Pokeball. Even though they're very similar, they're red, white, and round. Because from above or from the front, they're not. From above, they don't have the same pattern, and from the front, they are not a Pokeball since they don't have that center button, and they've got eyes which jut out, so they're not fully round from the front. Then you look at Pokemon like Poliwhirl, which is also round, and it makes sense with the center bit of it, since look at it, the part on its stomach really does look like a Pokeball, right? So it's round, and it's got a white button on the center of it, on its belly. So it's like the Poliwag, Poliwhirl, those guys. Are they Pokeballs? Well, no. First, they're blue and white, not red and white. And if you look at them from above, they're not round because they've got arms and limbs, and their eyes jut out. Plus, from above, they've got a tail, so they are not a Pokeball, but they do come close. They're still very round boys. Now, you think about it, right? And what else is a Pokeball Pokemon? So we look at other round Pokemon. For example, there's the Cosmog, which is a cloudy boy, and he's obviously not round, but he is a cute, gassy boy. Look at him. He's a round gas, he has a smiley face, and he's cloudy. But he is not a Pokeball. And then you can look at its evolution besides Cosmog. which is still not a pokeball because it's not round. And then you go further and look at other round boys. And the one that comes to mind is Lechonk, because he be a puggy. Look at him. He's a round piggy boy. But he's not round. Even though he's a good boy, he's chunky, but he is not round. And at least from the side, he is not a Pokeball. And then we go back to Cosmog, right? We look at them and think about gas Pokemon that are like Ghastly and Haunter, those ghost Pokemon. You see, they can become a Pokeball because you can put them inside a Pokeball container. So they become round if you chuck them inside, like, I don't know, a juice bottle in the shape of a Pokeball, or a Pokeball itself, because a gas fits the shape of a Pokeball, right? But they're not fully round because if you look at it, in most containers like Great Ball, Master Ball, and Ultra Ball, their colors are different and they're not fully round because part of them jut out. So even in containers, Cosmog are not a Pokeball. And then you look at the chunky Steel Pokemon like Shfeel, look at him. He's just making a W face like what? And he be vibing. But his wiggly tail means he's not a Pokeball. And he's blue. But he is round. That's why he's called a Spheal, because this is sphere and a seal. And then, if you look at the boy, he is white and blue. So he's got the two color scheme down, which is pretty good. Good job, Spheal. You did a pretty good job of being a Pokeball boy. But not enough. If you look at them from the front, especially, they do seem similar to a Pokeball, just blue. And, well, if we were rating them in like Great Ball rankings, they'd be pretty high. But no, they're not the Pokeball. Now we go back to Lechonk. Think about it, okay? Hear me out here. So, if you look at it from the front, it's a perfectly round boy, right? And then, it's got two color schemes with red and gray. Gray is basically fancy, funny white or dirty white. And then, the red part is basically the red from a Pokemon. And then, if you look at it, the nose looks exactly like a button for a Pokeball. So if you look at it, it's round, it's got two colors, and if you look at it from the front, the nose becomes a perfect button, so it's a pretty good Pokeball Pokemon. So like, hear me out. I think Lechonk actually wins in the most Pokeball Pokemon. I mean, yeah, you see the nose and the button, it matches perfectly. And he's a round boy from the front. Like, the other contenders did a pretty good job too, you know? Like, Cosmog can fit into containers. And you can argue Cosmog wins if you chuck it inside a Pokeball-shaped container. And all of them becomes Pokeballs if you capture them in a Pokeball. But still, the ones that look almost like a Pokeball there is like, yeah, Electorb and Voltorb comes close, but they don't have the buttons in their mouth. And Lechonk, in my opinion, deserves the win